Hi, Planet Michael's here. Today we're talking to the COVID patient number 5 that has recovered, and he's going to tell us how his experience, how did he find it, and what should you expect from when you have the virus and so forth. So I'm going to ask him a few questions that everybody wants to know, and then we'll see what his response is. But before we start, we need you to please subscribe to Planet Michael's and make a like so that more people can see this video. So all of you out there, please subscribe to Planet Michael's and let's go ahead with the interview. So we're doing an interview now with somebody that has been there, that has had the virus, that understands what it's about. So we're going to ask him a few questions. Can you briefly tell us about yourself?
I was case number 5 that was tested positive with the coronavirus on the 21st of March this year.
Where do you think you got infected with the virus, from your point?
Well, initially I thought it was an inspector that came from South Africa to inspect an aircraft at the AMO that I worked for. That was the week of the 2nd to the 6th of March. In that week when he visited Namibia from South Africa, the first case was announced in South Africa.
Oh, okay.
So when I did tested positive on the 24th of March, a lot of questions started arising. Then I had telephone calls from the ministry, not just one doctor phoning me, but several doctors phoning me. Interviews, who have you been in contact with the last 14 days, people at work, people outside of work. And then my travel history. When last did I travel to any country? And we tried to pinpoint it to whom I might have gotten it from. And the only logical explanation was the inspector from South Africa.
Okay, so that's basically where you think, from your perspective, that you might have contacted.
Yes, because I couldn't think of anything where I contracted the virus from. I didn't travel to a country that was seen as a high risk at the time. I mean, South Africa only had its first case that week of the 2nd to the 6th of March. So he was the only
person that you can think
that I could think of.
What was your reaction when you first found out you had the COVID-19 virus?
When this doctor from the clinic phoned me on the morning of the 24th of March, first asking me how do I do, how do I feel, but I had two phone calls prior to that from the ministry as well, as just to do precaution questions as to whom I might have been in contact with. And at that stage, the first 2 calls, I realized that something's not right. Something's not adding up. They're calling me too much and asking a lot of questions that steers into the direction of, listen, you're positive, but we're not going to tell you right now. But when the call did come through, the doctor, like I said, asked me, how do you feel, how am I doing? I said, okay, still a lot of chest pain, coughing a lot, and then she informed me that unfortunately you've tested positive. And I think I was quiet for a couple of seconds, then I started swearing over the phone and said, this is beep, impossible. And then she said, unfortunately, that's what it is. And I said, okay, can you give me a copy of this results, because I want to see it for myself. Because I mean, if you get phoned not thinking that you could have contracted the virus, and then you get a phone call to say you tested positive, I mean, it's like a story of a storybook. It just sounded impossible.
Through that, because that then
it was new. It was a very big shock. It was disbelief. So it took a couple of days to process this whole story, and it had quite a severe impact on my family. Because my wife burst out into tears. And
were you afraid?
Yes, I was. Look, right in the beginning, when the first cases came out, everybody was scared with the thought of, listen, if you're going to catch this virus, you're going to die. Because that's what everybody was told right at the beginning, because they didn't have all of the facts. The virus didn't spread that much for everybody to have a proper case study.
So it was still something new.
It was still something new, But I think by the time when I was tested positive, I think it was a little bit better. I knew I wasn't going to die, because I think I already went through the worst part of being sick. I mean, if I had severe lung problems and had to go on a respirator or oxygen, then I would have thought, okay, this is getting real.
This is getting real.
Yeah.
How was the quarantine process?
Okay, the process actually happened very quickly. Because after the doctor phoned me telling me that I tested positive, they told me that the ministry, somebody from the ministry will phone me and tell me the process going forward. And I think about an hour after the doctor from the clinic phoned me, I got another call from a doctor that was assigned to my case study. And then they told me, okay, unfortunately they have to move me to a quarantine facility, which is at Kusiakutako.
Okay.
And I need to pack my bags, pack enough clothes. And I think about 45 minutes later, the ambulance arrived, picked me up with case number. We were in the same ambulance together going to the lockdown facility.
And how was the facility itself?
The facility itself, there was nothing wrong with the facility. It looked like a brand new building.
Oh wow.
It was clean, it was neat.
Oh, okay.
It was cleaned regularly. The room that I stayed in was a 4 meter by 4 meter room. On the side I had my own bathroom.
So it was quite okay.
It was quite okay. I think if you've never been in jail, I think that would have been the closest experience you'll get.
But you were not allowed to leave, go out?
Not at all. Not getting into contact with the other patients, because we were only 5 at the lockdown facility at the time. I don't know who the other people were, because you were never...
you never saw one another.
You never saw one another. I just saw case number that was right across me when they came and did the morning and evening vital signs, taking your blood pressure, oxygen saturation, all that, just to make sure that you're not getting worse.
From the point that you arrived.
Yes, from the point that you arrived,
Now this is the question that most people want to know, is what was your symptoms of the virus?
Okay. This is the funny thing. I think right at the beginning, when this whole virus broke out, everybody took it from where it broke out. What was the symptoms when it broke out? And that was taken over by country to country to country, not having a full understanding and not really having a full case study on what the symptoms is for COVID-19. My experience, my symptoms was simply a very bad chest, and what I mean by bad was a sore chest, a lot of coughing, diarrhea for the first week, constant headaches.
Constantly pains.
Yeah, constant headaches that comes and goes, comes and goes. Yeah, like everybody said, that you have to have a fever, you have to have a very chronic or a very bad illness in your chest to have the coronavirus, which in my case wasn't that. I mean, I didn't have a fever at all. And I think at that stage the doctors started realizing that, okay, we don't have to just look at people that has got the fever, that must go onto a respirator. It's totally, I think from case to case it's different. I mean, all of us that was in the lockdown facility, to Siakutako, the 5 of us, we all had basically the same symptoms. I think one person had a fever, but not for that long.
How long did it last?
I entered the lockdown facility on the 24th of April. I left the lockdown facility after the second negative test, because you have to have two negative consecutive tests, yes, before you are announced free of the virus. I left the lockdown facility on the 6th of April, so it was almost 2 weeks, and it also depends on how quickly you rehabilitate from this virus. It depends from person to person. I mean, I heard over the news last night there was a gentleman that was in the hospital for 55 days after he only came out, and my lockdown was less than 2 weeks.
Okay, and then they said, okay, now you're negative, everything is fine.
Now I'm negative, I can go home. Best news ever.
Yeah, but especially if you don't know what you're expecting, because this thing is so new.
Yes.
Nobody knows.
Yeah, but in my opinion, they really put a lot of fear into everybody out there. It's not to say that if you've got fever or you've got most of the symptoms that you are going to go. And I think there's really a misunderstanding of what the symptoms of coronavirus is. And I think a lot of people, and this is really my own personal experience and opinion. There's a lot of Namibians, but not just Namibians, people worldwide that had the virus. They recovered and they didn't even know they had the coronavirus because of the symptoms I experienced. It was almost like having pneumonia, but not that lighter side of pneumonia, and that was basically it. So honestly, my belief is there's a lot of people that already had the virus, they didn't even know it.
Okay. When people found out you had COVID-19, how did they react to you? Because people are quite scared, so how did they react to you?
very accompanying, if I can say
yeah.
that way. I had a lot of support,
Okay.
friends and family local, friends and family South Africa, abroad, as far as Canada, New Zealand. So I had a very big support structure.
Okay. So people understood.
People understood. It was not like, okay, you've got the coronavirus, stay away from me.
Yeah.
You know, the virus doesn't spread that way.
Yeah.
There's a couple of ways the virus transmits. If you're in close proximity with somebody that sneezes, that doesn't use the elbow method or a handkerchief or something and that doesn't dispose of it. And talking very close to one another, then the droplets will
move there.
One
person is positive. Yeah.
Yes, but if you keep your distance from other people
And you should.
and you sanitize your hands every often, going into the shop, coming out of the shop, when you get home, just sanitize your hands again.
So that's very important, eh?
Yes, because you've climbed into your car again, you got home again,
Yeah.
sanitize your hands and don't be afraid. Because I think they put a lot of fear into people. Yes, if I was in contact with somebody that was tested positive for COVID-19, then I'm automatically going to get the virus.
Yeah.
It's not true.
How did it feel when they say, hey, you're negative, now you're okay?
On the morning of the 6th of April, I received a phone call from the case doctor that told me that he's got some very good news for me, that my second test tested negative and that I'm allowed to go home. It was like something lifted off your shoulder, weight lifted off your shoulder. So, well, it's more than a month because I was tested positive on the 21st of March. And then the second test was negative the 6th of April.
Okay, but you could have been negative before that, but only because
I could have been negative before that, but they test you 3 days apart, or 48 hours
the family
apart.
feel when they all heard you?
Oh, everybody was relieved. My wife and my son was very relieved to know that I was coming back home.
But they were negative.
They were negative the whole time, although they had to self-isolate, and the ministry phoned them on a daily basis to make sure that they don't produce any signs. And if they did have any signs, they had to tell the doctor which signs they've got: headaches, fever, sore throat, chest, anything. But luckily they didn't caught the virus, simply because I think once this coronavirus started breaking out, we really started taking the virus seriously, at home especially. So if you went to the shops, it wasn't as strict as it was when we started the lockdown.
But do you think it was necessary?
We've taken those precautions, going to the toilet, going to the shops, coming back. Everything you touch, just clean it. Wash your hands regularly. I think by doing that, they didn't caught the virus. Although my wife and myself slept in the same bed.
How do you think COVID-19 should be handled in Namibia, from your perspective?
I think our Honourable President handled this situation very good. In the sense of we got locked down very early. I think the lockdown started with after case 6 or 7, they started implementing the lockdown, closing the borders. So I think it was done very early. And I think our figures shows that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's 16 apparently now, another one got
Yes,
negative,
there's now 9 that tested negative. So only another 7 that still has to go.
All the ones that tested now is negative, so I guess we've done something right for an African country. It's also good our population is not so big also.
Exactly. I think it was a good idea. They did handle the situation correctly. I think the only thing that our government can do differently is maybe testing more people. I know they're trying their best. I heard over the radio this morning they managed to test 120 people yesterday. They're aiming at testing at least 100 people a day going forward. But don't just test the people that's got symptoms of fever and coughing. Test everybody. Even if it looks like they've just got a normal cold, they have to try and test everybody.
So what do you think, what should they do in order to be safe from your side?
Well, the only thing is that they can do is follow the regulations. There's a reason why the regulations has been put in place. Keep your distance, wear your mask. Although it might feel stupid, it might seem like a stupid idea, at the end of the day you prevent not spreading the virus to anybody else should you have left the virus. Let's say you're in a shopping mall and you've got your mask on and you sneeze or cough or something. Yes, you contain it yourself, you don't spread it to anybody else.
I guess people are just scared of the unknown. It's just
and they like you rightfully said, they're scared of being labeled. How can I put it? It's not a disease that's going to make you, you had the disease. We're going to stay away from you. We're never going to talk to you again. Even if you recovered, we're not going to invite you over for a beer at my house. You know?
It's crazy. I think it's the scare aspect. People are scared of the unknown. I guess the more people get educated, the more open-minded they would be. But I have to say from my side, I have a huge respect for you. Just the fact that
Thanks.
you are prepared to talk, prepared to say, hey, listen here, this is who I am. I'm nobody special, but this is how I've experienced it. And I'm about to talk because what I can say can help the next person. And you get few people that does that.
There's a lot of people that will disagree with what I've said, that will say that, but that you really had the virus.
Yeah.
Because you didn't have a fever. You didn't really travel to a country that was considered a high risk.
But like I said, this is your experience.
It's my experience.
It's how
it's my opinion.
Yeah, it's how your opinion.
Yeah.
It's not. You're not saying this is in general what it is, and people shouldn't. It's just, listen, you guys. This is how I've experienced it. This is how I felt it, and I can only talk from my perspective.
Yes.
So yeah.
Everybody out there must do what they feel comfortable doing. Stop listening to other people and what other people are telling you to do.
Definitely.
Yes, listen to what the people are saying on YouTube.
Yeah.
Listen to the conspiracies if you want to listen to the conspiracies.
Yeah.
Make up your own mind at the end of the day.
True.
It's all about what you think and what you're going to do about it.
But we would encourage, if
Exactly.
you have any feeling or something, go. Make sure. I mean, there's nothing against it. And like I said, you said the president did a very excellent job by closing down the country as soon as possible. And I guess that also played tribute to the low level of
its infections. I mean, we can see that in countries like Europe. You can see that in countries or in states like London. There was a friend that I know that lives in London. She had a short message on Facebook the other day to say that we as Namibians must stop complaining about the lockdown. They were locked down too late. We should be privileged that our president did what he did at an early stage to contain the virus, and it looks like it was very effective. We will really see what's going to happen since stage 2 started on the 5th of this month. We'll see what's going to happen within the next 2 weeks. Because there's much more movement. It's free movement now because all of the regions has been open to travel back and forth. So the next week, the next 2 weeks, I think, is crucial to see what's going to happen if we really contained the virus successfully, which I honestly think we did.
So there you've heard it from patient number 5. It was excellent hearing from him. He gave us his perspective, how he felt, how he got it, how it went, being negative now. We just want to be grateful that the country's got such a low number of positive results, cases, and no deaths so far. Any tips that you have for fellow Namibians about the COVID-19 virus?
Don't let fear get the upper hand of you. We're all going to get through this, whether it's going to take a month, whether it's going to take a year. Yes, we're all desperate to go back to work. Some industries like myself, I can't go back to work because the borders are still closed. Some people are fortunate to go back to work. Keep healthy and stay safe.
And I just want to say thank you. Thank you for coming out, and appreciate it. And I think everybody else out there would be very interested in what you've said.
Yes, and thank you so much for the opportunity. I think everybody must hear this. Thanks a lot.